everybody, it's Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man, and you're listening to the Wrestle Talk Podcast.
It's out of the night out. Tune in to Wrestle Talk. 657-383-1521. We'll be discussing WWE, NXT, Lucha Underground, ROH, fantasy wrestling, and we have some of the best damn interviews from professional and independent wrestling that you've ever heard.
And I'm Joe Lynch. Ladies and gentlemen, fasten your seatbelts, keep your arms in the vehicle at all times. Wrestle Talk begins in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Enjoy the ride.
What is up, Wrestle Talk Podcast family? How is everybody doing tonight? Nightmare Jones here once again with another edition of the Wrestle Talk Podcast with Joe and Renee. We've got the Facebook live feed going up. Share it, blow it up, give us your hearts, your likes, whatever you want to. It's going to be an absolutely amazing night tonight. We've got the High Spot segment. We've got the Shoot and Shout segment. We've got the Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. We've got the Fantasy Wrestling segment. And if that is not enough, we've got the one and only Killer B himself, B.Brian Blair, coming on, talking about the Cauliflower Alley Club and the reunion that is coming up in April, which the Wrestle Talk Podcast is insanely excited about that because we're going to be there. And if that's not enough, we also have the one and only Charlie Kruel coming on the podcast as well. That is going to be absolutely amazing. So what I want you to do is grab whatever beer you're drinking, soda, water, whatever it is, put it in your Wrestle Talk Podcast mug and take a drink for the Wrestle Talk Podcast with Joe and Renee. Absolutely amazing, amazing, amazing stuff. 100% is going to be an amazing show. Tonight, now, will not be here again tonight. He's still celebrating his Chiefs win. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and bring in the man, the myth, the legend, once again, for week number 2, the one and only Luke Roberts. Mr. Roberts, how are you today, sir?
Well, Joe, I got to tell you right now, it's an absolutely awesome time here on the Wrestle Talk Podcast, and I'm here tonight. Week number 2, once again, Wrestle Talk Podcast with Joe and Luke right here on Blog Talk Radio. I got to tell you, I'm starting to wonder how far is the Night Owl going to take this Chiefs World Tour?
Right? Exactly.
I mean, again, these Kansas City Chiefs are the world champions, the Super Bowl champions, the Lombardi champions of professional football. And again, I got to tell you, I know for a fact that he was very much looking forward to being part of tonight's program. But yet again, he's taking care of a lot of business for the Wrestle Talk Podcast.
Yeah.
Traveling around this country of ours, taking care of things. I know he's listening to the Wrestle Talk Podcast, as well as many people are here on the on Blog Talk Radio, as well as WrestleTalkPodcast.com. Joe, I got to ask you, how in the world are you doing? I mean, it's been a pretty crazy week, not just here in the St. Louis area, but it's been a crazy week around this wonderful world. How are things going with you, good sir?
I am doing absolutely amazing. Everything is going good. I'm excited about the show tonight. I am excited about, the Cauliflower Alley Club, but all this would not be possible without our sponsors, themarkmero.com, Painter's Dream Production, who did an amazing job on our website, www.wrestletalkpodcast.com, and everybody at Jay Hollywood's crew with the It's Me Speaking to You, the Conspiracy Forum. You know, it would not be possible without all their sponsors, and even Dynamo Pro. It wouldn't be possible without Dynamo Pro's support either. So it has been absolutely amazing.
Well, Joe, I got to tell you right now. I mean, again, first of all, it's an awesome experience to have all of these great sponsors. But also another thing you got really for the people who got to thank is all of those great listeners that are listening to us. WrestleTalkPodcast.com. We're following us live on that platform, our home base, if you will. But also making sure to follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. But you know, there's one other great place to be following the Wrestle Talk Podcast. And that's live, 657-383-1521 to get in on the action live. We got a lot of great things tonight to talk about. We've got in about 26 minutes here. I should say 24 minutes. I'm having a problem reading my clock here this evening. 24 minutes. We're going to have B.Brian Blair, former WWE personality, along with countless other promotions throughout the world. Presently, he is the president of the Cauliflower Alley Club, and not only are we talking about his wonderful career inside the Squared Circle, but we're also going to have him talking about the Cauliflower Alley Club reunion. I'm not mistaken, it's the 55th annual reunion.
Yes.
It's going to be taking place April 27 to 29 out in Las Vegas, Nevada at the Gold Coast. You can make it a point to check them out, caulifloweralleyclub.org. There's a lot of great information about the Cauliflower Alley Club, a lot of great events that are going to be taking place out there in Las Vegas. And I know for a fact there's going to be a lot of great personalities, both, I believe, Nightmare Jones and Joe, I'm a name block here today. Nightmare Jones, Joe Lance, as well as the Night Owl, Renee Martinez, are already scheduled to be there. I know I'm going to be there. I know that I can't believe I'm saying this, but my broadcast colleague, the best dressed man in professional man. I am having problems tonight because I don't know what happened with intern Timmy here. He's got all my stuff on the computer, and surprisingly, it's been in relatively good shape tonight.
Uh-huh.
But the best dressed announcer in St. Louis professional wrestling history, and that's a pretty big mouthful to say there. But Drake Lee is going to be out there. I know there's going to be a lot of representatives from a lot of different professional wrestling organizations throughout the country that are going to be out at the Cauliflower Alley Club reunion in April. We're also going to have Charlie Kruel, a great, really an up-and-coming wrestler in the Midwestern United States. She's competed for many promotions, got a lot of great things to talk to her about in that 8 o'clock hour as well. We've also got the FWWC, Joe. I got to tell you, there are a lot of things we've got to talk about tonight. But, you know, we do have one thing that we have to take care of. And I got to tell you, when it comes down to it, Joe, you do this introduction oh so well. So I'm going to throw things back over to you because this has kind of become a tradition, a standard of the Wrestle Talk podcast. So I'm going to go ahead and turn things over. Before we get things started tonight, as the Night Owl always says, keeping it on point like a number 2 pencil. Joe, let's go ahead and get things started tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and send things back over to you for our first little piece of business we take care of every Tuesday night right here on the Wrestle Talk Podcast.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is becoming a staple of the Wrestle Talk Podcast, and it would not be the Wrestle Talk Podcast without this. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I want you to do is stand up, cover your heart, and pay homage to the greatest country in America, and that's America, damn it.
Can you see and the rocket? I'll make up for it now. Oh, the land of the free.
Brings a tear to my eye every single time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and get in this high spot segment. We got a brand new High Spot song, because apparently the other song continued to get us flagged, and that's not what the Wrestle Talk podcast wants. So, ladies and gentlemen, intro Timmy, if you could please hit the music for the High Spots. All right. We got so much stuff to talk about. I mean, oh my goodness. So last night on Monday Night Raw, you had the beginning of what is a feud between Shayna Baszler and Becky Lynch. And I don't know if you watched this, Luke, but it was kind of disturbing because they had Shayna Baszler come in and attack Becky Lynch and then bite the back of her neck. And there was blood, and Becky ended up going to the hospital, and then by the end of the show, she had driven herself back from the hospital. It was absolutely insane, and kind of wonder where they're going to go with this,
Well, Joe, I got to tell you right now, to me, I know that Becky Lynch is probably one of the most popular wrestlers on the WWE roster. I mean, when you sit there and look at it, I mean, last year at WrestleMania 35, she's in the main event, winning both women's championships. I got to tell you, last night really kind of disheartened me a bit because, to me, when you look at the submission magician, Shayna Baszler, I mean, her reputation precedes her. I mean, phenomenal in-ring competitor, excellent submission fighter, knows how to get the job done inside the squared circle. I got to tell you right now, after everything that's gone on for Shayna Baszler, and as a matter of fact, going back to Survivor Series and her successes there as well, to me, I look at it, this was almost like a step back in my eyes to the situation. I mean, I think it was a little bit too over the top. I think it was one of those where I really think that I'm not going to discredit the toughness of one Becky Lynch, but it's just something about last night really just kind of left me disappointed, I guess would be the best way to look at it. I think it was one of those things that a lot of other things could have been done to really emphasize the ability of both competitors and to really kind of set this I guess now you're going to say potential feud in motion. Joe, while we're looking at it here, what are your thoughts? I mean, again, I know that you're like a lot of wrestling fans, a fan of both Shayna Baszler and Becky Lynch. What were your thoughts on this whole situation that took place last night on Monday Night Raw?
I mean, I'm just excited to see exactly where they are going to go with this. I'm not going to allow one segment to completely ruin, my excitement for what's going to happen, because between now and WrestleMania is a lot of time, and it gives them a great opportunity to have a really, really, really good feud. So I'm really interested to see exactly where they're going to go with this feud with Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler. And personally, I got to tell you, I feel that Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler at WrestleMania is the best route that they could go, because not only do we get a Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler, which we haven't seen, we're also going to get a Charlotte Flair against Rhea Ripley as well, and that's another match that we haven't seen. So that's going to be absolutely amazing. But I got to wonder, they've got the match set up for Charlotte Flair, and they've got the match set up for Becky Lynch. But where does Bayley fall in this? Where are we going to see Bayley wrestling at WrestleMania? Could we see a Bayley versus Sasha Banks?
Well, I gotta tell you this right now, Joe. I mean, you hit a great point, and I can tell you right now, to me, while a lot of fans, and I'm not going to disagree with you, that a lot of fans are going to be looking at the idea of Shayna Baszler versus Becky Lynch at WrestleMania. That's going to be a great match. But to me, I look at it of Charlotte Flair taking on whomever, and you're going to sit there and say, well, Luke, it's all set in stone. It's the idea of Charlotte Flair. She has been wanting to make this announcement for weeks, and now with this idea, it really intrigued me. Not just about Rhea Ripley. I mean, Rhea Ripley, simply put, has been on a huge roll of momentum, and seeing a match of Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania would be outstanding. It would be a clash of styles, a lot of different wrestling from across this planet. To me, I think a match that would really interest me would be Charlotte Flair taking on Bianca Belair. And
Yeah.
that's what a lot of people, I agree with what Bianca Belair has been saying, is that a lot of people are overlooking the EST of NXT. And I'm going to tell you right now, TakeOver Portland, I'm really going to be watching that matchup because it's very much possible that Bianca Belair can silence a lot of critics with the NXT Women's Championship and then go on to WrestleMania to wrestle Charlotte Flair. And I'm going to tell you, if you're just going raw athleticism, Charlotte Flair is one of the most athletic women that ever graced the WWE arena. But if you were to put a matchup between her and Bianca Belair, I got to tell you, that would be, to me, just as intriguing of a matchup. It really would be. I want to sit here while you're at it, Joe, and you're talking about Monday Night Raw, and you're talking about all the great things that happened last night. To me, one of the things I really found intriguing was the idea, and again, I'm sad that the Night Owl's not with us to talk about this tonight here on the Wrestle Talk podcast, because I know it's something that he and I have talked about on countless occasions. And it's something I don't think anybody expected. It was a return of the VIP lounge with the host MVP,
Yes.
Montel Vontavious Porter. I got to tell you, Joe, normally I'm full of words. I got to tell you, this was a situation between MVP and Drew McIntyre. I wasn't expecting it going into the program, and I've got to tell you, this really left me wanting more.
Yeah.
It really was intriguing. I think that MVP is a huge benefit to those that want to learn what it takes to have their own talk show time on the WWE programming. Joe, I got to ask you, I mean, again, you're a fan of a lot of people who get the privilege and honor of being on a microphone. What did you think of the VIP lounge?
I remembered the VIP lounge when MVP was in the WWE the first time, so it was definitely like reminiscing when they decided to bring that back, and I gotta tell you, I kind of hope that they continue bringing the VIP lounge, because it's a great segment, and it allows wrestlers to get out there. So hopefully they can, even though MVP's not really wrestling anymore, hopefully he can continue doing this talk show segment, because it's always a great segment, always.
That is true, Joe. That is true. And like I said, if you're having a great time listening to the Wrestle Talk podcast, make it a point. Interact with us on social media, Facebook Live, on YouTube, and Twitter. Also make it a point, if you're listening to us live and you want to interact with us, talk with us about all of these great topics here that we have in the High Spot segment tonight, make it a point. Give us a call, 657-383-1521, and you're going to be able to listen to us and be a part of the show live right here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. Joe, we got about 10 minutes more or less until we're going to have our first guest, B.Brian Blair, president of the Conference our Alley Club joining us here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. I'm going to tell you right now, there were a lot of pieces of information that were brought up about this week. I have to say I'm also intrigued, and it's kind of a unique situation here. The Edge Randy Orton situation takes a totally unique turn last night.
Mm-hmm.
It was something that I think a lot of wrestling fans were not expecting. A lot of people kind of having a lot of things brought back to their mind last night, and that was the situation with Randy Orton and Matt Hardy.
Yes.
A face that a lot of people would not expect to be associated after all the dealings in the past between Matt Hardy and the Rated R superstar Edge. I'm going to tell you right now, it stunned me to see Matt Hardy coming to almost a defense of Edge last night. And I'm also going to say it surprised me at how far Randy Orton was going to go, leaving Matt Hardy laying in the middle of the ring. I actually want to share something real quick here that was put out there through a variety of different media outlets. That Edge right now is recovering at home, and the family requests that their privacy be respected. He said, went on to say that Edge continues to recover, but now the family respectfully declined any further comment. I got to tell you right now, last night definitely left a lot of question marks with me, and one of those things that's definitely going to be interesting how things proceed forward. Will Edge be able to come back from this heinous attack by Randy Orton 2 weeks ago? Joe, I got to ask you, what did you think of the whole situation between Randy Orton and Matt Hardy last night?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it was a interesting segment, and I don't think that very many people are talking about that segment. I think that a lot more people are talking about what happened after Monday Night Raw went off of the air, and Matt Hardy was talking about that he was done with the WWE. So are we going to see Matt Hardy finally leave the WWE, or is he going to re-sign his contract, or is he going to end up in AEW? So, you know, there's a lot of things that are going on right now in the WWE that are up in the air. But yeah, that was definitely a interesting segment with Randy Orton and Matt Hardy, 100%.
Well, Joe, another thing you got to look at too here, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's one of the things that kind of surprises me, and it is a pleasant surprise in the world of the WWE. And that is the idea. Last night, we saw a championship change last night. And that change was a brand new 24/7 champion in the turn of Riddick Moss, a man who just a few months ago was a part of NXT, and really a lot of people didn't know what the future was going to hold for him. And then he was brought up, I think they said he was the offensive lineman for Mojo Rawley. And last night, after his matchup had concluded, Riddick Moss very quickly, it looked like he was going to take a verbal bit of abuse from Mojo Rawley, winds up getting a quick pinfall victory, and then does what a lot of 24/7 champions have done, and he headed off in the distance celebrating that 24/7 championship victory. What are your thoughts, Joe? I mean, again, Riddick Moss has really, honestly, has never really had a chance to shine for the most part on a singles level. And now, just a couple weeks after becoming a part of WWE's main roster, is now the 24/7 champion. What do you think about that, Joe?
Yeah, I was definitely surprised that they put the 24/7 championship on this gentleman. Like I said, I don't really know too much about him, but you know, I think that's basically what this belt was made for, was to allow people that we don't really know to hold a championship. And so now you've got this guy that not too many people know about, and he's walking around with the 24/7 championship, and that's one of the great things about this championship. You never know who's gonna hold it. You've had celebrities hold it. R-Truth, he's held it like 5,999 times now, it seems like. It's just I like the 24/7 championship more and more and more each time that I see it.
Well, Joe, I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, a lot of great things are happening. It's one of those breaths of fresh air. I mean, again, there's been some silliness. There's been some craziness that's gone on with things. But when you sit there and you look at it, the 24/7 championship really has been kind of a ray of light when it comes to the WWE. And you got to really look forward to see how that's all going to pan out in the weeks and months to come. Now, I know for a fact we're going to have B.Brian Blair, president of the Cauliflower Alley Club, in just a couple minutes. And I know for a fact that intern Timmy, I gotta apologize to intern Timmy here real quick. I mean, again, he had a lot of issues over the last couple of weeks, but thus far he's been doing really well here tonight as a part of the Wrestle Talk podcast. And he actually brought this one up, Joe, and I really want to bring this up to kind of bring closure to the high spot segment tonight. And again, 657-383-1521. If you want to participate not only in the high spot segment, but just in a couple minutes having an opportunity to interact with B.Brian Blair. And a lot of media has been talking about this, but it is official now, and it's been moving forward for the past few days. Could we see the fourth generation wrestler in the WWE? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The Rock's daughter, Simone Johnson, signing with NXT, bringing the fourth generation of the WWE potentially to the ring in the not so near distant future. I mean, again, with a great grandfather, the High Chief Peter Maivia, grandfather of Rocky Johnson, and a father known as the People's Champion, the Brahma Bull, the Rock. I mean, that lineage is unreal. And now having the opportunity to learn in NXT and be a part of the proud family tradition that is professional wrestling, I'm going to tell you, this is one of those that's really a landmark in professional wrestling. Joe, I'm going to throw it to you here because there's a lot we could talk about this. Again, this never been, it's new avenue. It's new territory here in the world of professional wrestling. What are your thoughts about Simone Johnson becoming a part of NXT and becoming a part of the WWE family?
I think that is a really good move for her. Like you said, she has a huge family lineage. She's the daughter of The Rock. She's the granddaughter of Rocky Johnson. So she definitely has a lineage, and I really hope the best for her. And if she's like any of her relatives, I don't think she's gonna have any issue in the WWE. See, a lot of people don't realize exactly how big that the Samoan family is. You've got The Rock, you've got the Usos, you've got Rikishi, you've got Samu. It's the Samoan lineage in professional wrestling is absolutely huge.
And that's right, Joe. I mean, again, when you look at all of the great wrestlers that have that Samoan heritage, I mean, it's one of those when you sit there and look at it, there's a lot of great wrestlers that have come to the WWF, WWE, WWF, if you want to go that far. There's a lot of great wrestlers who've made it a point to come to the WWE. And again, the idea of seeing the potential of a fourth generation superstar, I'm really looking forward to seeing how things are all going to play out. Matter of fact, Joe, I know I talked about intern Timmy a few minutes ago, and he had things taken care of. And I'm just looking here. I know we're getting close to the end of the time for our high spot segment. I know our first guest is going to be joining us in just a few moments. Joe, looking here at the computer, do we have our first guest ready to go? I know intern Timmy's been kind of sending some stuff out there, and I'm kind of getting the computer gremlins. I can't blame that on him this week. I've had some issues here with the computer. Is our first guest on hold?
Intern Timmy says he is working on getting our first guest on hold. He said that it shouldn't be very much longer until our first guest comes on. So we are intern Timmy is doing his best.
All right, like I said, that's one of those. We're going to have B.Brian Blair, president of the Cauliflower Alley Club, right here on the Wrestle Talk podcast in just a few moments. I mean, again, this is something I'm looking forward to, Joe. I mean, again, when we talk about the Cauliflower Alley Club, there are a lot of great men and women who have graced the squared circle, a place that myself, yourself, the 9-Hour, Renee Martinez have all had an opportunity to be a part of this great sport that is professional wrestling. And as we're looking at things right now, I mean, again, to have somebody representing such a great organization like the Cauliflower Alley Club, it's an interview that I've very much been looking forward to here tonight as a part of the Wrestle Talk podcast. Joe, I got one more question here as we're taking care of things on the air here. Got one more thing here, and I can't believe with all the stuff going on that it totally slipped my mind, was the situation going on between MJF and the American Nightmare Cody. I got to tell you right now, I know they're scheduled to meet up on Saturday night, February 29th, as a part of Revolution. Joe, I got to tell you, watching the events of the situation and this lashing of Cody Rhodes, I got to tell you right now, I've been around wrestling a long time, and this got painful to watch. I mean, again, there were so many people that were supporting Cody and being behind him, and looking at just the images on Twitter, for some fans, it just made their stomach turn. I got to ask you, what was it like for you having to watch everything that's been going on, especially this last little situation between these two men?
You know, I don't usually get to catch AEW, but I made a point to catch it last Wednesday, and oh my goodness, that lashing that Cody Rhodes took, those 10 lashes with that belt, with each smack, you could feel the pain that was going through Cody Rhodes, like with each smack. And then when MJF gave the belt to his henchman and allowed him to hit Cody Rhodes, it was even worse. Like you know, Cody Rhodes, he must really have to be willing to go through what he went through last Wednesday. And you know, this is just one step of what he has to do to face MJF, because he's not allowed to touch MJF until the match. So MJF, as cunning as he is, you know that he's going to do every single thing he can to get Cody Rhodes to hit him and attack him so that he doesn't have to go through with this match.
Well, you left out the biggest wild card in this whole thing, Joe. And again, he has 3 phases to go through. I mean, it's the opportunity of where he has to take 10 lashings from MJF. He has to make sure that he doesn't touch MJF. And he also forgot the biggest obstacle. And I mean, again, I don't mean this as a joke, but he has to step inside a steel cage with Wardlow. I can tell you, Wardlow is a monster of a man. And as we saw with this whole situation and the lashing of the American Nightmare Cody, this is going to be, assuming that the American Nightmare can get through Wardlow and that steel cage matchup, I got to tell you, I would not want to be MJF come AEW's next pay-per-view offering, because I'm going to tell you right now, I mean, again, there's two ways to look at it. You could look at Cody Rhodes, the American Nightmare, being, I mean, all fired up for it, but also the idea of what we're looking at right now. Is there going to be anything left of the American Nightmare to take on MJF as a part of AEW? Now, Joe, I know for a fact in just a few moments we're going to be joined by B.Brian Blair,
Yes.
the president of the Cauliflower Alley Club here. Joe, I'm gonna ask this to you, and I'm gonna go ahead here, and I got a couple of messages that have come across my computer. I know you follow AEW. I mean, you were attending the first event live for the Wrestle Talk podcast. I got to ask you, what else is on your mind with AEW? There's a lot of things going on here, and I got to ask you, what's been kind of getting on your mind when we're talking about the world of AEW?
Well, you know, the main thing that is different about AEW is the fact that the wrestlers don't really have they have their own creative clause where they can pretty much, seems like they can do whatever that they want to do. And in case in point, last Wednesday, you know, after Cody Rhodes had gotten his lashings and MJF was backing away and leaving the arena, he got attacked, and it finds out that it was none other than Frankie Kazarian that attacked him, and that wasn't part of the script. Frankie Kazarian just decided that, you know, nobody was helping Cody Rhodes, so he was going to put it upon himself to help Cody Rhodes. And, you know, that's the kind of thing that I like about AEW is you never know what's going to happen. You never know what is going to happen. And, you know, I like the WWE, but I like AEW as well. I'm not one of these type of people that are, you know, I'm strictly WWE and I'm not going to watch AEW because I'm a wrestling fan and I like watching professional wrestling. So, you know, back when it was WCW against WWE, you know, I didn't pick sides. I watched both of them. So, you know, I'm not picking sides with AEW or WWE either. You know, I will always have a heart for the WWE. So I will always like the WWE a little bit better than AEW, but I still enjoy watching AEW.
Well, Joe, you bring up a real good point. And it's not just the idea of this war between the WWE and AEW, or as a lot of people are saying, NXT and AEW. But there's a lot of great professional wrestling promotions all across the planet. I mean, you talk about promotions like New Japan, MLW, AAA, CMLL, Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor. I mean, there are so many great professional wrestling promotions out there right now that a lot of people are being able to see and watch and participate in. And right now, as it stands, there's a lot of great things going on that we need to make sure that we are getting our fair share. And that's one of the things that's great about the Wrestle Talk podcast, is that we talk about all avenues of professional wrestling. And as we see right now, again, we got a lot of great things that the future is going to hold. I mean, we got NXT Portland coming up. We've got the WWE's Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania coming forward. We've got events with Impact Wrestling. We're nearing the time of the anniversary event for Ring of Honor. We've got pay-per-views coming out by MLW. We've got a lot of great things for not just for Wrestle Kingdom, but for the New Japan promotion as well. There's a lot of great things at the national and international level. There's a lot of great things on the local level as well. I know Dynamo Pro Wrestling has got a lot of great things happening as a part of the Mardi Gras Mayhem event on February 22nd. I mean, you've got the Dynamo Pro Heavyweight Championship on the line. You've got the D1 champion, Camaro Jackson, and the women's champion.
813-310. You're going to be live on the Wrestle Talk podcast with Joe Renee. Who you be speaking with so I can get your name down?
Hello, you talking to me?
Yes, sir.
It's B.Brian Blair.
Oh, wait. We'll get you on in 1 second, sir. Just 1 second.
Thank you. Dante, I got to tell you, Joe, there's a lot of great things that are going to be happening here in professional wrestling. And I got the message here, Joe. I know that you have been eagerly waiting for this interview. I know that I have been as well. Like I said, we had an opportunity here. We consider ourselves very fortunate to have our next guest, our next interview, being able to join us this evening. As long as I can remember, the Wrestle Talk podcast has always strived to bring the professional wrestling fan with the best in professional wrestling news as well as interviews. And I got to tell you, this is one I've been looking forward to for a long time. And it is our esteemed honor and privilege to have join us here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. And I've got to tell you right now, I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Intern Kenny, if there's any time the technology is going to work right for us, I really hope it's today. Ladies and gentlemen, a man who has traveled the world, who has been involved with professional wrestling for pretty much the majority of his life. He has trained with some of the best. He has wrestled with some of the best. He has been a part of the PWI 500. He's been in politics. You name it. He's done it all. He's seen it all. And now I am proud to say that he is the president, the esteemed president of the Cauliflower Alley Club. Intern Timmy, if you would be so kind as to hit the music as we welcome our first guest tonight's Wrestle Talk podcast, the one, the only Cauliflower Alley Club president, B.Brian Blair.
Hello, Mr. Blair. How are you, sir? Welcome to the podcast.
Podcast, my fanny, man. This is the Hive, and you guys are alive. What an intro that was. I mean, I am buzzing right now. You guys are awesome, Joe, Renee, Rob, Matt, everybody, man. What a team you guys got. You got a dream team for podcasts. I tell you what, you sure know how to make a guest feel welcome.
Oh, I mean, you know,
I got to tell you right now, Joe, I'm gonna step in here. First of all, Mr. Blair, I gotta say it is an honor and a privilege, and Joe and I, we have to apologize here. We are both so excited, much like yourself, for being a part of the Wrestle Talk podcast. And I'm going to say right now, and you need reference to it, we have now gone into the Hive with B.Brian Blair here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. I got to tell you, the energy level has been high all night long, and Mr. Blair, I got to tell you, this is going to be an opportunity to talk about a lot of great things. And I would be remiss if we didn't start talking about something that all three of us love right down in the very heart. That is professional wrestling. And sitting here looking at your bio, looking at the history of B.Brian Blair, and the first thing that I've got to look at here is what we all look at, and that's the idea of our love of professional wrestling. You've been followed professional wrestling for years. What really hooks you into professional wrestling? It's a great sport. It's a great opportunity to see all sorts of professional athletes get inside the squared circle that we all hold so dear. What was the thing that brought you professional wrestling?
Well, first things first, Renee. You got to drop the Mr. Blair. I appreciate the respect so much, my brother. I mean, it's great. It's great. I'm sure if I saw Donald Trump, I would call him President Trump. Or if I saw Pete Buttigieg, I'd say Mr. Buttigieg or Mayor Buttigieg. I'd certainly address them properly like that. But for the rest of the segment and for the viewers, I'm 60. I'm just B.Brian, BBB, Triple B, whatever you want to call me, man. Just let's just keep it there. But what really interested me in professional wrestling, I'm actually writing a book right now with Scott Stevens. Who, if you Google him right now, Scott Stevens, the author, he just has his fourth novel coming out on February 14th. But so we're going way back in my life, and I can remember in Gary, Indiana, where I was born, where Alex Karras, I mean, this is going beyond, I mean, you'd have to ask your mom and dad, maybe even your grandparents, because this was like a legend when I was a kid. So Alex Karras was this football player for the Chicago Bears, and then he became a professional wrestler. It was back, in the days of like Moose Cholop and those guys. And I remember being a little kid. And then I moved to Tampa, Florida as a youngster. And I saw Gordon Soley from WTOG Channel 44 right here in Tampa. And when I saw that, I saw Jack Briscoe and Don Morocco and all these people that just made me Eddie Graham, Duke Tiaboko, Hiro Matsuda, all Buddy Colt with the thumb. These people just mesmerized me. But I couldn't believe, how they could take this grueling punishment, because it was strictly kayfabe, and we believed wrestling was real. So well, there's a lot of stuff I don't want to reveal in my book, but there were things that just kind of motivated me throughout my lifetime since I was a kid. That it's almost like God was telling me, son, you are going to be a professional wrestler. And that formed from my childhood. And again, I'm going to explain that in my book when it comes out, but without boring anybody. But I would say that Jack Briscoe probably motivated, and Gordon Soley, the way he could make a blind man see. His announcing was just that good. And, JR will be the first one to put Gordon Soley on the top of the platitude. He's the bees.
618-971. You're going to be live on the Wrestle Talk Podcast with Joe and Renee. Who we're speaking with, so I can get your name down. Mark, what was your last name again? Collins?
Collins.
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 Collins. Awesome. Did you have a question for B.Brian Blair, or were you just listening?
Yeah, I was wanting to talk with B.Brian Blair.
Okay, we will get you on, sir.
He's into books and scholastics, and a lot of people think wrestlers are unintelligent, and that's simply not the fact. There are so many intelligent, and especially nowadays, the new talent, the intelligence they have is just off the chain. You look at Dwayne Johnson, you look at Mankind, you look at, Hulk Hogan, you take it, any of the guys that made it in this business, unless they've had, dementia like Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Well, I used to sell sodas in the Tampa Stadium, walking up and down the stairs, and I'd put my sodas down when Mr. Wonderful, number 40, was playing for the Tampa Spartans. Because in the town of the city of Tampa, for which I was the county commissioner of Hillsborough County, and there's 3 municipalities in Hillsborough County, which is 1,078 plus square miles, which is almost the size of Rhode Island, which is 1,221. And in Hillsborough County, which the municipalities are Tampa, Temple Terrace, and Plant City, 3 municipalities, there's almost 1.5 million people, which is larger than 10 states. And I ran at large county commission, and I beat the mayor of Tampa for that honor. And, politics was difficult, and they tried to beat me up with professional wrestling.
Yeah.
And Bob Buckhorn did, and that cost him an election because there's so many people now that are just so ignited, and for so many years, even back then, when we're talking about how the question was, what excited me and got me into professional wrestling, and Joe Renee, being on the Wrestle Talk podcast and telling you it's a long explanation, but I just want to say thank you, God, for getting me here, there, and to just moving everywhere.
Well, Brian, I got to tell you right now, when you bring up so many great things, you talk about Alex Karras, the great football player, and the contributions that he made among countless others into the world of professional wrestling. You also talk about announcers. You talk about people like Gordon Soley. You talk about Jim Ross. Another one that pops into my head is Lance Russell. I mean, again, a lot of people say the idea of the Mount Rushmore of announcers. Right there are 3 men that definitely are 3 that would. If you have an opportunity, if you want to be an announcer, you don't want to learn what it takes to be providing the soundtrack, as JR has said countless times, the soundtrack to professional wrestling, besides what's inside the 4 sides of the squared circle. These men have gone and provided, it's just a huge soundtrack when it comes to the world of professional wrestling. Now, one thing I want to look at here real quick, and again, we have B.Brian Blair here, the president of the Cauliflower Alley Club, right here on the Wrestle Talk podcast, 657-383-1521 if you want to give us a call and interact live. Now, Brian, you talked earlier about your training and really being involved in professional wrestling and getting your start in the Florida area. One of the things that our media team happened to look at when we were focusing on your career was the training that you had taken part. Can you give us just a little bit, what it was like to train under the wrestlers that you did to become a professional wrestler? Because the names that you have been associated with back even in the very early stages of your career, I got to tell you, Brian, I am just in awe of the people that you, as they say, you sat under the learning tree of professional wrestling. Can you give the listeners of the Wrestle Talk podcast just a brief snippet of what it was like to train under some of the professional wrestlers that you have had the opportunity to be connected with?
Well, first, I think the listeners need to know their names, and one of the reasons I'm so grateful to all of my colleagues in the business, not, like I mentioned, the announcers, the ring crew. I'm grateful to the timekeeper. I'm grateful for everybody in our business, and that's what makes my heart so happy to do what I do at the CAC and what so many others, not just me. We've got a big team, and there's people that do more than I do. They're just all with hearts filled with love. And we have a great group at the CAC. But getting back to your question, can you tell me again? Briefly, I'm sorry. You got home. No, I know where I was going. Forgive me. Now I heard my dog bark, and it just automatically took me off my thought process. But the people that broke me into professional wrestling, like Hiro Matsuda, like Jack Briscoe, like Buddy Colt, like Eddie Graham, like people that assisted me, like Bob Backlund, Don Morocco, Steve Kern, Mike Graham, Ivan Koloff, all these guys coming into the ring, Gordon Nelson, just so many people. One of the best hookers of all time, Karl Gotch, learning how to hook, being an amateur wrestler, was great for most of those guys. But when you got with guys like Karl Gotch and Hiro Matsuda and Gordon Nelson, guys that could turn you into a pretzel in 10 seconds, it was just incredible to have such a plethora of talent that wrestled in so many decades. Because I got to see, and I got to actually wrestle with guys. I'm trying to think of some of the older guys that were just kind of leaving, like Angelo Poffo, like Bob Orton Sr., like there's a blonde-haired guy in Mid-South that everybody would know, Ox Baker, all these. I got to wrestle with these guys that were older in their careers when I was, just starting out. Thunderbolt Patterson. What a great guy Thunderbolt Patterson was. I mean, you talk about a talker and a walker. I mean, Thunderbolt Patterson, he was Dusty before Dusty. And he was just a black Dusty Rhodes, and he had it all. But, again, there's a lot of political things that I learned that go on in politics. Maybe that's why, I don't know. I guess you just can't be an honest politician. But going back to those people, I'm always and forever grateful. And the talent is just much deeper than that. I mean, I can't tell you how many times Don Morocco would sit there and Gerald Briscoe and Jack Briscoe would sit there. No, dude. Do an arm drag this way. You got to take a bump that way. No. And then I remember all the times that Carl Gotch was making me go, and Harold Matsuda would go, and that puke. And people don't realize out of 3.5 summers I wrestled in this dungeon, 106 North Albany Street in Tampa, Florida, right off of Kennedy Avenue. There were over 100 people, well over 100 people that came in and wanted to be professional wrestlers. And only 3 people during that 3.5 years broke in and lasted. So many of those people left just running into the street without their clothes, just in whatever they wore into the ring. And most of that was pure red, because it was so brutal when I broke in. That's the way it was. But it was Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. He broke in about almost a year before I did, and then it was me. And when I say broke in, you guys understand what that means. Started.
Yes.
Those are wrestling terms, but it's funny how I listen to wrestling now. People have just. I guess the terms have gotten with the times, but it certainly doesn't time. Hey, be quiet! I'm talking on the internet. Gotta love dogs. Anyway,
I totally agree with you.
Yeah, I love animals so much. Anyway, she's a rescue bit. Getting back to these people, these athletes, these gentlemen, businessmen. I mean, Bronco Lubitsch. Remember Bronco Lubitsch? I mean, wrestling in Dallas, with the Von Erichs, and living a year and a half with David Von Erich of my life. That was an amazing time. Just an amazing time, and I'm so glad I spoke with you today, because I certainly don't want to leave that out of my book. But David Von Erich and the whole Von Erich family. I mean, Kevin and I talk all the time. Doris was one of the instrumental people that helped me strengthen my faith in God and through Christ, and that's how I've been. I've got a Jewish mother, and been raised as a Christian, but I've always, since I was a kid, nobody had to tell me about faith. For some reason, I always believed that there was a higher power, and I've just always seemed to, get by myself and I'd say, God, what should I do? I mean, there's so many decisions, and life's difficult, but it seems like somehow, when I was trying to find, this is a true story, and I shouldn't put this, I mean, it's not a book about faith, but it should be. Gordon Soley, he passes. I run another thing called Legends Lunch, which is getting so popular. It's unbelievable. I've been running it since 1999. I started it when Harold Matsuda had cancer. And we have it every 3 months in Tampa, Florida, at O'Brien's Irish Pub and Eatery on Northdale Mabry. And, golly, Legends Lunch, I'm thinking about Rocky Johnson right now. I'm sorry. I miss Rocky so much. I just can't believe you guys messed up. But let me keep going here. Let me just say that Rocky Johnson was the soul man, and he's the soul man in heaven right now. And he was at church, as a matter of fact. Rocky Johnson, Steve Kern is a tremendous leader of faith, and he's been doing, Steve Kern has been the fabulous ones. He's been the licorice guy coming out of the swamp, Skinner. And Steve Kern is just a tremendous brain. He was working for WWE behind the scenes. He still does, as a matter of fact. And, he's at church every Sunday. And Rocky started going to church with us a year ago. And he went the first time, and he was there, almost every Sunday until he got ill. But having that faith has just driven me. And from Gold's Gyms, a lot of people don't realize I was a businessman. I started with one Gold's Gym with just my wife and 2 babies. And I had left Vince at WWF and decided, this is right at WrestleMania 5, and knew that I knew a lot about business. Well, I thought I knew a lot about business, but you learn as you go. If you have the principle, you gotta take in more than you spend. If you learn that principle, you might do okay in business. So, but anyway, we started with 0 members and built 4 clubs with our own 12,000 members and leased out 3 other clubs, Gold's Gym health clubs. So, being a businessman, being a county commissioner, managing a $5 billion budget, and that's what you do as a county commissioner. You have, in Hillsborough County, our charter form of government, you have 6 other county commissioners, and being county-wide, there's only 3 county-wide, but it takes 4 commissioners to get anything done. And, through just common sense and the things that I learned from, guys like I mentioned Bronco Lubitsch, who told me to buy AT&T stock all the time. Just these little things. I was able to come up with ideas that I got the board to approve, my peers to approve, that saved our taxpayers over $1 billion in 4 years. And that's a fact. That's very hard to do, my friends. And it's because I try to learn from every single person. And you can learn from a bum on the street. You can learn from anybody. And as long as you have respect for everybody, you have to have respect for everybody. If they don't respect you, turn away and walk away. You don't have time to talk to. I hate these social media fights and all these squabbles and all that. I don't get into all that BS. I want to stay positive, walk positive, be around positive, because I'm filled with love and respect. And that's what, I try to portray then, now, and I always will. I go to a better place.
Well, Brian, I got to tell you right now, again, just sitting here and listening to the names that you brought forward, to the people you've talked about. You talk about people like Thunderbolt Patterson. I think instantly another name that pops into my head would be people like Sweet Daddy SeaGeek. And you talk about people like Ron Hutchinson. That's one of the great things about professional wrestling, is you can have any number of people. And one of the things I feel that you and I are on the same wavelength is that you always learn being around. I've been around professional wrestling like yourself. I've been around professional wrestling since I was 10 years old. And you always learn something new from each and every person, whether it's the ring crew or the announcers or the men and women inside the ring or the officials, you name it. You're always learning inside the squared circle. And I got to tell you right now, we've had an opportunity right now. We're talking with B.Brian Blair, president of the Cauliflower Eye Club. Brian, I got to tell you, the Facebook feed and the WrestleTalkPodcast.com feed have been blowing up with this interview. I was going to ask you, we got a gentleman who's actually been on the line. We had some technical issues with our phone system. We got him back on the line. I got a gentleman who's been waiting on the line for a while. He has a question for you. I'm going to go ahead. Caller, are you on the line? All right. I thought we had the caller on the line. Tim, do we have our caller patch through here to talk with B.Brian Blair? Caller, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you now. That's good. All
Yeah,
right, well, let's go
I
ahead now.
heard on the show a while back that Herb Simmons was getting inducted out in Vegas this year, and I haven't seen that on the Cauliflower Alley. I just wanted to know with Brian Blair if he could tell us if that was true.
Well,
Oh, looks like we lost Brian Blair. He'll be calling back real quick.
All right. Well, like I said, we're gonna have an opportunity. I know Brian's going to be calling back in again. The technical issues are a wonderful thing here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. But like I said, just to give you an idea, if you make it a point to check out the Cauliflower Alley Club Facebook page, they've been keeping everybody up to date on the award winners. And like I said, thank you for the call, Mark. We're sitting here right now and looking here. The list of who's going to be inducted this year, I mean, I got to tell you, Joe, and when you look here, and some of the names that are going to be inducted into, or not inducted into a Hall of Fame, but actually receiving awards as a part of the Cauliflower Alley Club. I mean, just sitting here looking at the names of who we've got wrestlers like Dominic DiNucci, known for training a lot of great professional wrestlers, including Shane Douglas, Nick Foley, among countless others. You have Jazz receiving the Women's Award. You've got the Road Warriors receiving the Tag Team Award. You've got Jim Londas, the Golden Greek, receiving an award posthumously. Rey Mysterio receiving the Lucha Libre Award. You've got RVD receiving the Lou Thesz Award. You've got 2 Rising Star Awards, Madison Miles and Brian Dillon Jr. And you have Medusa as well. Alundra Blaze. We've also got Jazz receiving an award. Richie Santana. You've got Art Williams receiving the Charlie Smith Award. Countless different awards that are being presented this year as a part of the Cauliflower Alley Club. And again, I believe we have our connection reestablished. Brian, are you there?
yes, I am, and I just listened to your rundown, and don't forget Rob Van Dam is the Lou Thesz recipient this year. He'll be honored as well between April 27th or 29th. But is the caller still there? Or I really apologize to the caller if he's still listening. But just to finalize that question, and I apologize, I don't know how we got disrupted, but the connection got dropped. And Herb Simmons is not slated to be awarded to receive an award this year, but he's definitely slated to be awarded.
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought I had heard it on this show when Renee announced one night that he was getting it. So I've been watching to see if that was going to happen.
Are you guys in St. Louis? Are you in St. Louis right now?
Yeah. I live in Chesterfield, out near St. Louis, but I try and catch all the Herb shows when I can.
Yeah, Herb's awesome. You know, I talked to Herb the other night. He's just, he's one of the most down-to-earth, easiest guys to talk to, and he's real. You know, he's a real man. When he tells you something, he's a man's man. Herb is totally a man's man, and he has so much love for the CAC. I mean, he does things, and we all, there's nobody from in the CAC. I don't receive a penny. Dean Silverstone, Will Duncan, Ron Hutchinson, nobody ever receives a penny from the CAC, not a penny. And I tell you this, and anybody that has worked for you would say something different if that were not true. Every single nickel is accounted for. Dean Silverstone lives in a $6 million home. He's been with the CAC for 30 years. That's our treasurer, our secretary treasurer. He is sharp as sharp can be. Let me tell you, gentlemen, the hardest thing to do is to run a company, and that's what we are. We are a corporation. We are a 501c3 corporation where nobody gets paid. When everybody is a volunteer. And sometimes, we'll get a complaint, well, I didn't get my ear on time, because for your listeners, the ear is our newsletter that comes out, Royal Duncan Publishing. It does a great job. Vern May, and Roy Lucier contributes. So many people Carl Lauer. We just have a lot of people that contribute, and we have so many volunteers that do so much. I mean, that's what makes the CAC such a great organization. And if you've never been to one of our reunions, the 55th is coming up. And again, Herb Simmons is one of the best cheerleaders we have. And that's kind of almost what I feel like I do for a living, even though I'm in the real estate, even though I'm in the real estate industry and the wrestling industry still. I'm so passionate about the CAC and having guys like Herb. I mean, we couldn't do without everybody, all of our members. Our members are tremendous advocates. And people, once you have attended a reunion, it's almost it's like an addicting drug that draws you back, and you don't want to miss. And I got honored in 2001. And I've only missed a few times, and when they asked me before the 50th, when Nick Bockenwinkle was getting ill to be the president, I decided, that I would, as long as I knew enough about business, that I wouldn't do it unless I was going to be the CEO too, which was my option according to the bylaws. And I accepted that responsibility because when your name's there, somebody else like the CEO could really tarnish it. I mean, it hasn't happened because we've had such quality people, and that's what CAC is all about, but you still got a CYA, so to speak.
Well, I'm going to look at it right now, Brian, and again, that's one of the things for years and years and years. I've had so many people like Herb Simmons, people like Tom Simon, people like the late TNT Kenny G, who's been very, very strong supporters of the Cauliflower Alley Club. And again, having the opportunity to be a part of this year's reunion, April 27th to 29th out in Las Vegas, Nevada, the Gold Coast Hotel and Casino. It's going to be a great time for professional wrestling. And again, caulifloweralleyclub.org. I would be remiss, my broadcast partner here, Joe Land, he's been helping intern Timmy take care of all these snafus. Technology is great when it cooperates for you. Joe, I'm going to throw things over to you. I know we've got B.Brian Blair, the president of the Cauliflower Alley Club. I know we've got just a few minutes left. Joe, I know you've got a couple questions for Brian Blair, so go ahead and take things right now. Nightmare Jones, Joe Land, and Brian Blair.
I do. Once again, thanks for taking a bit of time out of your busy schedule. So this year's Cauliflower Alley Club reunion is going to be very, very special to me and Renee and Luke, because this is going to be the first year that we are going to the Cauliflower Alley Club reunion. I've got my membership, I've got my tickets, I've got my hotel room. I am insanely excited. What I wanted to know is, what can I expect when I go to the Cauliflower Alley Club reunion?
What can you expect, Joe? I am so excited for you and your tight buddies. I mean, you're going to have such an amazing time. Well, let me tell you what you can expect, okay? First, you're going to have the time of your life, but there's so many things to do in Las Vegas. You might get to them, but we have so many things to do just right at the Gold Coast Hotel and Casinos. There's like 14 restaurants right there. Everybody becomes like family, and there'll be a couple thousand people. When it comes to the banquet, there'll be 750 people because that's sold out. That's all the people that we can have when it comes to to our dinner. So you're going to expect, the Bockenwinkle blowout, which is just a tremendous meal with a lot of friends, a lot of fun. You're gonna have, and that's an honorees night. It's a tremendous night of honorees. And then you're going to have Wednesday night with more honorees and a tremendous dinner. You're going to have seminars, all kinds of seminars on different topics. We still have room, I think, for 2 more seminars. And people love the seminars that we put on. I mean, we put on seminars from Moolah to, just go to our website, caulifloweralleyclub.org for the listeners. I know you know, Joe, but the different events are more numerous than I might I might miss something, but you've got a bowling tournament, a cribbage tournament, and Bob Orton Jr. I mean, Bob Orton. You would not Bob Orton Jr. Bob Orton. You got Bob Orton Sr., Bob Orton, and Bob Orton Jr. All great men. And Bob Orton has been trying to win the cribbage tournament for like the last 3 years, and he finally won last year. And he was so excited. And, you know, it was funny as heck because you got to know Bob to appreciate this, but he thought he was going to get a big lot of money or something for winning the tournament, and he got a trophy. You know, because it's all for fun. We all raise money for people like Jerry Gray that's suffering right now with stage 4 cancer, Rip Oliver that's got 20% lung capacity right now, and I can only mention their names because they mention our name first. So that's why, and when you see the people to Kamala and you know, you continue to help people that need assistance, it's all because of our members and our people, and they get excited by coming to the reunion, not just by the seminars, the reunions, the honorees. They have a strut contest. It's just tremendous. It's getting bigger and bigger. Free wrestling matches, both Saturday and Sunday night. If you want to come, you know, on the 27th, or actually we do have them on the 27th, but on the 26th even. I'm saying. Because the official dates of the reunion are the 27th through the 29th, but they even have matches on the 26th. And, you know, all that stuff's free for the cost of $125 for a reunion ticket, which encompasses all of that stuff. So there might be like a $5 entry fee into cribbage or bowling, but and again, every dime goes to people. But why are you going to have so fun? I mean, this is like a major hive coming alive, and all the bees are buzzing, and everybody's working together, and we're all working together, not for the queen bee, but we're working together for all of our brother and sister bees all around the world that just fall on financial hardships because of cancer. I mean, because of the horrible things that happen to people. You know, in wrestling, you don't get a 401k. You don't have a retirement plan. There's no book on how to succeed. You don't have anything but the money that you made that night for your pay, and I hope that someday that changes. But anyway, I guarantee you, Joe, you're going to have the time of your life.
Absolutely. And I just have one final question. Everybody that we've talked to about the Cauliflower Alley Club reunion they've always told us that you never know who you're going to see there. You guys always have surprises that show up. Can you tell us about some of the surprises that you've had show up at the CAC reunions?
Joe, that would be a plethora. I mean, golly, from Jerry Waller to, you know, to Harley Race to Terry Funk. I mean, everybody likes show Pat Patterson. Everybody shows up. It's like, you know, you're going to have Sergeant Slaughter, Ricky Steamboat, Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, all these people, you know, come into the CAC, and the WWE actually purchases a couple tables. They're a great sponsor of ours and a great supporter of ours. And, you know, we're not prejudiced or we're not biased with AEW or with any other organization, but the WWE has always been just Sue Aitchison at the WWE is like an angel. And, you know, I love Vince. He's done a lot of great things. A lot of people throw a lot of stones at him, but, you know, he's also made, you know, a lot of people a lot of money and given them an opportunity to go other places. Maybe, you know, they didn't quite make it in wrestling, but somebody, you know, saw their name and they became an insurance salesman, or, you know, the #1 car salesman at the lot. You know, there's a lot of good things that have happened, so spin-off things. So, but, you know, anyway, I just try to look at the good in everything.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, Mr. Blair, I know I just called you Mr. Blair. We want to thank you so much for.
Mr. Joe, that's okay, Mr. Joe.
We want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule, Luke, do you have any final questions for Brian before we let him go tonight?
Well, I got to tell you right now, first of all, Brian, it is our esteemed honor and privilege to have you here on the program tonight. And I got to tell you right now, longtime friend of the program, TNT Kenny G, the late TNT Kenny G, for years upon years, always stressed to me the importance of being a part of the Cauliflower Alley Club. And you talk about so many great names and so many great people who are affiliated with the Cauliflower Alley Club. And the 5013C, as you said, is a non-profit organization that not only brings forth the past, the present, and the future of professional wrestling, but it brings a wide variety of people together for their love and their support of professional wrestling. Real quick, before we let you go, for those that want to know more about the Cauliflower Alley Club and B.Brian Blair, the Hive, everything that has to do with Brian Blair, how can they check you out, not only on social media, but on the wonderful World Wide Web?
My Twitter is Killer B1B, and Facebook is, well, there's the Killer Bees, there's B.Brian Blair, there's Brian Blair in Tampa. So I'm on LinkedIn, and so CauliflowerAlleyClub.org, just remember that. That's the most important thing. And the 55th reunion in Vegas, April 27th through the 29th are the official days. A lot of people will be there days before and days after. Make a vacation, bring the family out, bring your friends out. It's going to be a great time, I promise. Joe, Mr. Joe, we are going to have a fabulous time. Renee, everybody, I mean, this is going to be one of the best reunions, I promise. So many surprise guests, as you alluded to, that you're definitely going to want to have your cameras with you.
Absolutely.
And Brian, one other thing we totally forgot about, too, also the idea of being a part of the nostalgia room at the Cauliflower Alley Club reunion. That's a great experience in itself. Again, if you get this opportunity to be out in the Las Vegas area, April 27th to 29th, Gold Coast Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada, you're going to be able to experience one of the greatest things in professional wrestling, the Cauliflower Alley Club reunion. Make it a point, CauliflowerAlleyClub.org. Brian, we want to say thank you for coming on the program, and I know for Renee Martinez, Joe Lance, myself, and all the wrestling personalities and the fans that are going to be able to take part in this year's Cauliflower Alley Club reunion. We want to say thank you for all that you've done for professional wrestling, all that you do for the Cauliflower Alley Club, and tonight we can officially say everything that you've done for the Wrestle Talk podcast. You are now a part of the Wrestle Talk family. We want to say thank you for coming on the program, and I know that all of us, including all of us here at the Wrestle Talk podcast, are looking forward to being part of this year's Cauliflower Alley Club reunion.
Thank you, Renee. God bless every one of you. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much to the Wrestle Talk podcast. Bees for buzzing with the Wrestle Talk podcast, because the Hive is alive tonight, and it will be tomorrow night. Keep that attitude going. Be the bee's knees and knock them out. We're going to have a great day tomorrow and a great week. And in the words of the nasty boy, Brian Knobs, every day is a Friday, and every night's a Saturday night. Keep on buzzing. I'll talk to you soon. God bless you.
Woo!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you, B.Brian Blair, president of the Cauliflower Alley Club. I got to tell you, Joe, I think I'm going to have energy for weeks after that interview. Brian Blair bringing so much energy to the Wrestle Talk podcast here tonight. Joe, what are your thoughts? I know it's a great first hour. What are your thoughts?
Oh, man, it's been absolutely amazing. The first hour has been absolutely amazing. I can't wait to talk to everybody in the FWWC and talk to Charlie Kruel. That's going to be absolutely amazing. With that, we are going to take a little break. We're going to be back in 2 minutes and 34 seconds with the FWWC segment. So we will see you then. Until Timmy, hit the music.
shorty. Yeah, not Florida, bitch, I'm all in. I wanna be that I can't buy. Wanna spend money, then I'm your guy. Ain't got much to look inside. I wanna be like I can't afford. I spend money when I am more. All five, I got like four. I just wanna fucking here all day. Yeah. Look at that, see with Quavo. Yeah. All that shit costs so much dough. Yeah. I just wanna ball like Tony Romo. Spin up and down like a yo-yo. No need no Yoko Ono. I can do this shit solo. Film a video in slow-mo. Give this shit some pro photo. I'ma just put this volley. I can't give you no money. You think this shit's funny. I won't let no one run me. I want things that I can't buy. Wanna spend money, then I'm your guy. Got myself can't buy. Yeah. I want things I can't afford. I spend money when I am bored. All guys I got like more. I wanna be that I can't buy. Wanna spend money, then I'm your guy. Got myself can't buy. Yeah. I wanna be that I can't afford. I spend money when I am bored. All guys I got like more. Yo, what up? Night Out. Nightmare Jones. What up, Wrestle Talk fam? Do it for y'all. Check me out.
Kick in the doorway in the 4-4. Even them haters can't hate us no more. Unlock your doorway, we got some more.
Every Wednesday we here.
Keeping it raw. Night Out, Nightmare Jones, all the best guests.
Like the double barrel pointed right at your chest.
Wrestle Talk Podcast.com. Vision and killing like a night at the prom. Oh my goodness, what a first hour, ladies and gentlemen. Now it is time for the FWWC segment where the members of the FWWC can come on and voice their opinions on what has been going on in the FWWC. We recently just came back from a little break. This past yesterday was the first show after the break. So if there's anybody in FWWC that would like to call in, the number is 657-383-1521. That is 657-383-1521. And some of you may be wondering what exactly the FWWC is. And, well, ladies and gentlemen, the FWWC is fantasy wrestling. Hold on a second. I'm getting into Timmy to send messages out to the members of the FWWC so they can call. But anyways, the FWWC is fantasy wrestling. You got fantasy wrestling, you got fantasy baseball, you got fantasy football, you got fantasy everything. Well, you got fantasy wrestling now too. And this gives people the opportunity that are huge wrestling fans that can't do professional wrestling, or, you know, they're already professional wrestlers and they want to use this as a way to work on their promo skills, because we have professional wrestlers that are in the FWWC. Those like Rick Maverick and, you know, Curtis, the Suplex Cyclone, and so, and of course, ladies and gentlemen, the Nightmare Jones was on hold the entire time. So, oh my goodness, Intern Timmy, It's the FWWC segment. Let's go and get on some of these people. 816-876. Who are we speaking with on the Wrestle Talk podcast with Joe and Renee?
Hey, this is Big T the Python.
What is going on, Big T the Python?
What is up, my brother Nightmare Jones? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How has Big T been doing?
Brother, I've been on a non-stop party for the last 2 weeks. And I ain't stopped kicking ass since I got back last night.
Okay.
You know, it's been a good time in Columbus Park. I finally brought home the European Championship after so long of chasing it.
And what are you planning on doing with this European Championship, sir?
I plan on defending it for
571-251. You can be live on the Wrestle Talk podcast with Joe and Renee. Who are we speaking with so I can get your name down?
Your Red Brand GM.
Awesome. We'll get you on, ma'am. Absolutely. That is awesome. Now, this is a title that you've been going after for quite some time, and you finally were able to capture. What does this title mean to Big T?
You know, being from an Italian family with a Sicilian background, it truly meant a lot. It truly meant a lot. I've won a lot of titles here in the FWWC, but this is the icing on the cake. You know what I mean? This one meant the most. Just because of the prestige of it, and the background, and the history, and the name.
Absolutely. All right. So, Big T, if there's anything else that you want us to know before we let you go tonight, sir?
Yes, absolutely. And this goes out to one sick man that's been dropping a lot of bombs on the page lately. Stay tuned. If you have any balls, I'm going to see you in Columbus Park this week. And don't pull a battle plug and just circle the neighborhood. Actually stop in. Have a good night, brother Nightmare Jones.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the one and only Big T. All right, we got a lot of callers lining up. A lot of callers lining up. In just a few short minutes, we're gonna have Charlie Kruel coming on. So let's go ahead and keep these phone lines going. Hardcore Sis, what is going on? How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good there, Nightmare Jones. How are you this evening?
I am doing absolutely amazing. So if you could tell us about what is going on with, well, it's no longer the Red Brand. So what is going on with Hardcore Sis? Well, I get intern Timmy to screen some of these calls.
Well,
317-447. You're going to be live on the Wrestle Talk podcast with Joe and Renee. Who are we speaking with so I can get your name down?
this is Charlie Kruel.
Charlie, awesome.
I'm here for an interview.
Yes, ma'am. We will get you on in 1 second. 618-420. You're going to be live on the Wrestle Talk podcast with Joe and Renee. Who are we speaking with so I can get your name down? Is this Luke?
Hey, Joe, it's me, Luke. Like I said, just to let you know, I'm on hold. And like I said, Charlie Kruel is also on hold as well. You might want to go talk to her and make sure she's ready.
I already did. I've got her on hold. I'm going to get through this FWWC real quick, and then we'll get into it.
All right. Thank you, boss.
Yep. 204-804. You can be live on the try and get your name down. Heel deal. Awesome. Thank you, sir. We will get you on. 816-226. You can be live on the FWW on the Wrestle Talk podcast with Joe and Renee. Who we speaking with so I can get your name down.
Hey, Joe, how you doing? Me, Luke from Kansas City.
Awesome. We will get you on, sir. All right.
Are you still with me there, buddy?
I am back. Intern Timmy is back. So last night was the first night back. did you see anything that you liked last night? Is there anybody that caught Hardcore Sis's attention in their matches last night that you may want to contact about coming to the Red brand, to your brand, I should say?
To the Inferno brand.
Inferno brand, yes.
You know, I did. I saw quite a few people who last night, I do admit, you know, that did really well, you know, and some that just did phenomenal. And, you know, like I said a moment ago, the GMs were watching. You know, we were discussing during the matches. We were watching and what we were seeing. And, you know, we did talk amongst ourselves, and we saw a lot of good stuff. And we saw some not so good stuff, but it's all good, you know. It's a trial and error period, and this is the period that's going to separate those who want it from those who don't. And believe me, we're watching. And we will know if you want it or if you don't. And those who want it are the ones that we're going to want on our teams.
There you go. Is there anything else you want us to know before we let you go? Any final words?
Just want to say to the FWWC, hey guys, promo and let us know what you want. Promo and let us know what brand you want to be on, and just get it out there. And to those of you that have matches coming up Friday night, like I said, if you don't have one, get with one of the GMs, get you a match. And if you have one, promo for it. Promo for those matches, and don't wait till the last minute to get your promos up, because we're watching. And if you show us that you want this and you show us that you can do this, you just may find yourself on the brand that you want to be on. But remember, space is limited, so you may not always wind up on the brand you want.
There you go. Those are the words of the one and only Hardcore Sis. We've only got a couple more minutes before Charlie Kruel comes on, so we're going to get through these three callers real quick. Heel Deal, what is going on, sir? How are you tonight?
Heel Deal is Mr. Number One, so he's always feeling good.
All right, I'm going to ask you one quick question. Same question I asked Hardcore Sis. Was there anybody last night in their matches that impressed the Heel Deal that you may be wanting them on your brand?
Who impressed the Heel Deal? I'll say this: Battle Cat, who shocked me. He came out victorious, but there was a lot of people that popped off the page. But you know what? I don't think I'm going to have any trouble, because I have these birdies, these little birdies. You saw them on the Rise posters. I got birdies everywhere. They're Rise birdies, Heel Deal birdies. They're flopping, they're flying, and they're telling me everybody wants to go to Rise. And that's because last week on this show, they listened to the Heel Deal, where he said he doesn't need to be your friend. He doesn't need to be your family, because you have other friends. You have other family. If you want to win, if you want to go to the top, if you want to be number one, Mr. Number One, you come to the Rise brand. Boom, baby. And all the people that I hear want to come to Rise should hate my guts. I hate their guts. But you know what? Together, we're going to put that aside. We're going to go all the way to the top, and we're going to win this thing. Boom.
Boom. Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen, that was the Heel Deal. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to get into the other callers tonight because we do have Charlie on hold. So let me go and bring in my co-host for the night, Mr. Luke Roberts. What is going on, Luke Roberts? How are you tonight, sir? Woo!
Joe, I got to tell you right now, it's been an awesome night of the Wrestle Talk podcast with Joe and Renee right here on Blog Talk Radio, WrestleTalkPodcast.com. I also want to say thank you to all of our followers on Facebook and on Twitter who've been keeping tabs on the show tonight. It's been a great show. And I got to tell you right now, I know for a fact our second caller is on hold. Again, intern Timmy has been doing nothing short of awesome trying to get things taken care of. I got to say tonight, Joe, intern Timmy's had some problems, but it's not anything that he's had anything to do. And he's been going through things like a trooper. He's been doing everything he can to get things going. And speaking of getting things going, I want to go ahead and get things ready for our second guest. We have the opportunity here, and we want to first of all thank our good friend John Costa over at EatSleepWrestle.com. He's had an opportunity to work with this wonderful young lady who has traveled all across the country inside the squared circle, competing against some of the best professional wrestlers in the country. I mean, we talk about some of the wrestlers she's competed against: Savannah Stone, Billy Starks, Tootie Lynn Ramsey, Haley Shadows, Amazing Maria, Shotzi Blackheart. I could go on and on and on for a long time about all of the accomplishments of this woman. She is by far one of the fastest rising wrestlers in the Midwestern United States, and it's our honor and privilege to have her here on the Wrestle Talk podcast tonight. So, intern Timmy, if you could hit the music, and welcome to the Wrestle Talk podcast, Maniac Charlie Kruel.
We cannot get out. I'm surrounded by strangers. The music starts to pound. The body's flowing.
All right, Charlie, are you on the line?
I am.
All right, like I said, we have Maniac Charlie Kruel right here on the Wrestle Talk podcast with Joe and Renee, or I should say with Luke and Joe here tonight. As I don't know if you caught earlier on, Renee Martinez, the normal host of the program, is off celebrating his beloved Kansas City Chiefs winning the Super Bowl just a few short days ago. Now, Charlie, I want to go ahead and just jump right in here because you've got a lot of great stuff to talk about. The first thing I want to ask you is, you are by far, and I've had an opportunity to see a lot of wrestlers, you are one of the fastest rising women wrestlers in the Midwestern United States. And I have to ask you, what drew you to professional wrestling?
Sorry. I have somebody in the background trying to make me laugh, ruin my interview.
Hey, isn't that the way it always is? But like I said, what brought you to professional wrestling?
Really, I was just young, and what brought me was my brothers always watched, and it kind of just drove me to it. They used to wrestle and invite the neighborhood kids over and wrestle around the house, and just kind of started from there, and it just kind of grew and grew and grew, and I watched it like every single week. I watched every YouTube video there could be possible of wrestling. I kept at it, so.
Well, Charlie, I mean, again, when you sit here and you look at professionals, there's a lot of us. I mean, I can speak for myself. I've been around wrestling since I was 10 years old. I know that Joe Lance, he's been inside the ring as an official in countless promotions throughout the Middle Atlantic portion of the country. I know that Renee Martinez has been in the rings as well. We all first start out as professional wrestling fans. And I mean, again, hearing what you said, that's what a lot of us remember when we're growing up. But I got to tell you, when I sat here, and I have to thank the wonderful folks of the Dynamo, I would say Dynamo Pro, but I also want to thank a lot of people here at the Wrestle Talk podcast with a lot of great things here, a lot of pieces of information. And when you look at the men who trained you, I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, Charlie, I'm pretty intimidated just at the individuals who took their time to give you that guidance to be inside the ring. You have Too Tough Tony, Rudy Switchblade, and Aaron Lamada, three individuals who I'm going to tell you, I would not want to be across the ring from in any way, shape, or form because they are just that tough. Can you tell the listeners here of the Wrestle Talk podcast what it was like to be trained by competitors like these three individuals?
Well, I trained at Grindhouse, and Too Tough Tony owns the building. And I trained for a long, 3 years maybe. 3 years, I'm going to say 3 years. 2 years, about 2 years, 3 years with Rudy Switchblade and Aaron Lamada. And it's funny because when I first came in, obviously you don't know how to bump. You know, the bumps are kind of the first thing they kind of teach you some places, but our place we had to learn how to bump first and protect ourselves and roll before we got into anything else. And I mean, it took me forever to actually learn how to bump because, believe it or not, you know, I was terrified to actually bump. I didn't like the feeling of falling back, not knowing, wanting to catch myself. So they continued having me do it. Rudy one day was like, hey, come in early so I can help you learn more how to bump so you can, get on with doing other things with class that are obviously, you know, are more experienced than I am at that point. So it kind of took off there, and training with them, you know, it's always been, we always, you know, had fun. They were never very strict, you know, they were very laid back guys, and like they helped you learn. And right now, you know, neither one of them train anymore. Ronnie Roberts takes over Grindhouse now, so it's sad because I miss those times that I've had with like Aaron and with Rudy and all of that. Their training was phenomenal for me. They really helped me. They helped me grow as a competitor and as a wrestler, and I learned all the time from them. So I appreciate them completely.
Well, Charlie, I got to tell you right now, first of all, you hit the nail right on the head. I remember, and like I said, I've been around wrestling a long time, and I've seen a lot of wrestlers throughout the St. Louis area. Matter of fact, when I was an in-ring competitor for many years, that was one of the things that I myself had a very similar time kind of shaking from your mindset, because as human beings, we're not designed to naturally fall flat to your back. I mean, it's human nature that you want to catch yourself. You want to make sure that you can protect yourself from getting hurt. And again, the idea of going in the ring and being able to protect yourself, I mean, wrestling isn't, as a lot of people have said in the media, wrestling is not ballet. It's a contact sport. And you're going to go out there and you're going to suffer your fair share of bumps and bruises along the way. And like I said, having the opportunity to be inside the squared circle, I mean, again, it shows the toughness that the maniac Charlie Kruel brings to the ring. I'm going to go ahead and throw things over. When I had an opportunity to sit down to prepare for the show, I know for a fact that my partner, Joe Lance, he has been chomping at the bit to have an opportunity to speak with you. And Joe, I'm not going to waste any more of Charlie's time. I'm not going to waste any more of the time of the Wrestle Talk podcast listener. I'm going to go ahead and throw things over to you. I know you have a lot of questions that are on your mind for the maniac, Charlie Kruel.
I do. So, once again, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule for coming on to the podcast. You are known for escaping death row. Can you tell the listeners what exactly escaping death row means?
So the whole thing was, I have my fair share of the murders and like the bad stuff I have done in my past. And I was put on death row for a long time, many times, off and on, all the time. And that's pretty much like my entire life. I've just thought like, okay, I've been part of this, you know, forever. Finally, I found a way to escape from all of that. You know, so I started saying, like, when I met Masuku, and he kind of brought me into, like, he helped me escape from death row, and he helped me run from the police, and helped me, like, you know, every time, like, he knows, like, I have aggressive issues. So what I do is I get in the ring, and I take it out on all my opponents, no matter who I'm going against. It could be a guy, a female, it could be a kid, I don't care. You know, and all of a sudden, you know, that's what it means to escape death row. And I just started saying, like, I don't have a hometown. I'm not from anywhere. I don't have a state that I'm from. I go everywhere. I live everywhere. So I'm like, I need a place. So I'm from death row. I escaped death row, and that's how that ended up going.
Wow, that is absolutely amazing. The description of what escaping death row actually is. That's absolutely amazing. So you wrestled for a promotion called Girl Fight. What was it like wrestling for Girl Fight?
Pondo, obviously the owner and creator of Girl Fight, and I call him Dad. We all call him Dad Man, or yeah, we all call him Dad Man. Sorry, that was brain fart. His name's Dad Man. We call him Dad Man. Dad Man Pondo. And my first time I ever debuted at Girl Fight was, I believe, March of 2018. I'm gonna say, and it was against Aleda Ortiz.
Mm-hmm.
And it was literally a 5-minute match. It was my debut match. I ended up, losing, but I was still new then, and I was just learning my craft at that point, getting as much experience as I could, soaking in every single knowledge that, I got. And I love Girl Fight. We were originally going to do another Girl Fight show at our new place in a different area that wasn't the arena. This was going to be our first time, besides the WWO arena in Indianapolis, that Girl Fight was going to have a new home. And literally a few days before the show, somebody called and, got our show canceled because they complained about the parking situations or something. So they got our show and another show that ran there canceled. And so now Girl Fight right now does not have a future date, but they're still in the works. I just talked to Pondo the other day. He doesn't know what's going to happen, but, we're not going to give up on Girl Fight. Girl Fight will be back. I know it. It just sucks that had to happen like that, that somebody had to be crappy and very immature and unprofessional in every way to want to, call, and kind of ruin all of our fun and ruin, kind of just took money out of my pocket and out of all the women pockets and ruined all of our bookings. So it's just, and not just that booking, that's the Paradigm Pro Wrestling booking too. But I mean, they have a new place as well, so that's good.
Well, the Hall of Famer Iron Sheik heard about what had happened, and this was his response to somebody being a petty asshole and calling in and getting the show canceled.
Fucking bullshit!
I had I was gonna say, yeah. Awesome. Yeah, he probably does say that. They're jabronis, a bunch of jabronis.
Exactly, a bunch of jabronis. Now, my last question is, you were working with a good friend of ours, John Cosper, and you helped you create a horror / comedy show called Escape from VHS Hell. Can you tell us about doing this comedy show with John Cosper?
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even read the book. No, I'm just kidding. I read the book completely. Yeah, it's selling so much. Fans are coming up, buying it like crazy. They're telling me how much they love it, how much they couldn't put it down. And I just appreciate John going out of his way to write and, create this book for me and kind of, creating a story behind me and Masuku and how I was just, an innocent girl, just wanted to be a wrestler, to being this maniac, psycho, escape from death row and all of this. And just, it's an amazing book. And I really appreciate John for doing that for me.
Absolutely. All right. Well, I am going to go ahead and throw it back to Luke Roberts because, he's. I'm sure he has a bunch more questions. So, Luke, go ahead with whatever questions that you have, sir.
Well, thank you very much, Joe. Like I said, once again, the Wrestle Talk podcast has Maniac Charlie Kruel right here on the program, 657-383-1521. Make it a point to give us a call to interact with us. You can also interact with us on Facebook, on Twitter, WrestleTalkPodcast.com. And Charlie, I'm going to kind of change things up a little bit. I was going back and I was looking into your career, and you've been at countless promotions. You talked about Paradigm Pro, but I want to talk about a couple of the competitors that you've been inside the ring with, a couple of people that are very familiar, not just to professional wrestling fans, but to listeners of the Wrestle Talk podcast. And one of them, we had an opportunity right at the tail end of the year, starting as we go into the year 2020, to have here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. And I know you had countless matches against this individual. What can you tell me about your rivalry, your in-ring competition with one Billy Stark?
With Billy, oh my gosh, I think early 2019 was the last time we kind of parted ways with that feud. It's actually been one of my favorite feuds I've ever had, honestly, because, you know, she came into Grindhouse. So I've always been, I don't know if people, like, there's a lot of people that should know this, is I've always been the only female at Grindhouse. I was pretty much the first female student at Grindhouse. I was the first female graduate of Grindhouse. You know, I was the first one to wrestle at Grindhouse as a female. And she came in, and that's when I was like, yeah, this will be fun. More females than I started seeing. You know, the attention she was getting and the opportunity and all this. And then I was like, okay, I need to put a stop to this. And that's when the feud kind of began. And it was very, I mean, we pretty much tried to rip our heads off. It was an amazing feud from start to finish. It's definitely been one of my favorite feuds. I have nothing but much respect for Billy. And I'm glad that we were able to have that feud and have, you know, that experience with each other, because, you know, we both got something out of that. I think I was her first real feud that she ever really had, and it's definitely been my favorite. So,
well, like I said, we had the opportunity to speak with Billy Starks a little while ago here on the Wrestle Talk podcast, and again, I personally have had an opportunity to see just a little bit of the footage, and I got to tell you, if you haven't had a chance to go onto things like YouTube and catch out a match between Charlie Kruel and Billy Starks, you need to make sure to check that out, because there's nothing short of an awesome in-ring action. Another one I want to throw out there, and this one goes a little bit closer to home for me, not outside of the Wrestle Talk podcast with Joe and Renee. This actually goes to an individual who recently had an opportunity to compete for the Dynamo Pro Wrestling Women's Championship, currently held by the Empress of Evil, Reign Victoria, back at the Jams and Slams event back on February 2nd. Reign Victoria took on another female competitor that you are definitely no stranger to, competing against her countless times in the Emerge promotion, and that is Haley Shadows, the reigning women's champion of Emerge Wrestling. What are your thoughts about the Barbie Killer, Haley Shadows?
speaking of her, coming up March 7th, there's a all-women's tournament that Emerge is holding for the First Contenders. Obviously, I have been fighting for the Emerge women's title for 2 years. Since I debuted and I beat Raylan, I have been fighting for that opportunity. I've went against Haley two times. Every single time she has found a way to cheat to win. Not just win fairly. She cheats and to win, and that's her game plan. And it won't surprise me if in this triple threat at Emerge Wrestling, she ends up finding a way to cheat and defeating both the women. But whoever wins in that match for that women's title, whether it's Haley or Amber O'Neal or Blair Onyx, it doesn't matter. I'm going to win that number one contenders tournament because I've been part of Emerge for so long now. I've been there on days Haley wasn't there. Haley's like the Brock Lesnar of Emerge Wrestling at this point. She doesn't show up. Wow. She doesn't, I've been the only one who's ever really fought her for that title. And I think this tournament is going to prove to myself, to everyone, to Haley, to all of the Emerge fans, that I do deserve that title, and I have been stronger and better than I ever have been before. So next time we meet in that ring, which I know is going to happen for that title, I'm going to walk out the champion. And how I think about Haley is I respect her completely. We were part of Horror Show together. She was like
90 seconds
along the way before I even started training for this business. And I have nothing but respect for her, but there's also part of me that just wants to punch her in her face because she cheats to win, and I don't like that. I'm in here to be fair, and I'm in here to win fairly. So that's all I have to say about Haley.
Woo!
Wow, I'm going to tell you right now, I wasn't expecting to hear those kind of comments there, Charlie. But again, it's one of those
60 seconds.
The fact you had the opportunity to compete against wrestlers like, and I mean, again, when you look at the names that you've competed against in your career, I mean, you sit here and you look at it, the wrestlers like you look at Haley Shadows, you look at Thunder Kitty, you look at Sheen, Trudy Lynn Ramsey, you look at Savannah Stone, Billy Starks, Shotzi Blackheart as well. I mean, again, to get in the ring with women like that, definitely shows the ability and shows the skill that you possess inside the squared circle. And I got to tell you right now, I would definitely be watching my back consistently when you talk about that number one contenders tournament. And hopefully the fans of Emerge Wrestling will get to see exactly as you said, the idea of seeing another in the classic matches between
10 seconds
and the Maniac Charlie Kruel. Now, Charlie, I know that you have a very busy schedule. I know you're in high demand all across the Midwest. We're just about done with our interview with you, but we have one last little piece of business. And I know that this has become a tradition, and I don't know with all the different wrestlers that you've come in contact with that have been a part of the Wrestle Talk podcast. We have something that we take part in every week, which is called the Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. It's a very quick 3-question competition talking about professional wrestling trivia. And I know that you're a very busy woman. You have promotions from all across the country that are wanting you to step inside the ring, and you need to make sure that you are in the peak of physical condition to get inside the squared circle. But would you be willing to take part in this week's installment of the Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I know that the Maniac Charlie Kruel is ready. Joe Lance, I got to tell you, are you ready for tonight's Game Show Challenge?
Hey, I won last week, so I'm pretty confident that I can win this week too.
Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, we've got both of our contestants ready. All we need to do is hit that music. So, intern Timmy, if you would, go ahead and put forth the music for tonight's installment of the world-famous Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another installment of the world-famous Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. Tonight's contest is scheduled for the best 2 out of 3 falls. Our contestants are the Maniac Charlie Kruel and the Wrestle Talk Podcast's own Joe Lance. In just a few minutes, I'm going to ask you a series of 3 trivia questions revolving around a particular professional wrestling topic. When you think you know the answer to the question, go ahead and shout out your answer. The first to win 2 out of 3 falls will win tonight's Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. At this point, Charlie Kruel, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm not good at games, but I'll try my best. Okay? I have my sister.
all
Maybe
right.
you'll help me a little bit.
All right. Joe Lance, are you ready?
I was born ready, sir.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, tonight's Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge category was mentioned very briefly earlier on in our earlier interview tonight with Cauliflower Alley Club President B.Brian Blair, talking about all of the different professional wrestling organizations throughout this planet that you have the opportunity to compete in. Tonight's Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge category is O Canada. All 3 of tonight's answers for the Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge will be wrestlers that have competed or have made home in the country known as the Great White North, that being Canada. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead. I know both of you are ready to get this first fall started. So here we go with question number 1 of tonight's Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. This professional wrestler spent time inside the squared circle from 1973 to 1998. He was known as a former American Wrestling Association World Heavyweight Champion. He was also a WCW World Television Champion. And he was also a WWF Tag Team Champion with both Tony Gurria and Tito Santana. Many people would best remember him for a giant button that he wore on his jacket saying, "Yes, I am a model."
Rick. Oh, it's Rick something. Rick something. Rick
It's
the
not Bret Hart, is it?
No, it's Rick. It's
Owen Hart.
it's Rick the model something. He was married to Sherry Martel. Oh, what is his name? Rick something.
I'm gonna Google it real quick. Give me a second.
Well, right now we're still waiting for an answer.
Rick.
Nobody has given the correct answer to our first question here tonight.
It's
This individual, former AWA World Heavyweight
Rick
Champion,
the model.
tag team champion in the WWF. He was known for wearing a giant button saying, "Yes, I am a model."
Was it Rick the Model Martel?
Ladies and gentlemen, Maniac Charlie Kruel wins the first fall with Rick the Model Martel.
I got it.
Like I said, right now, Charlie, you're up 1-0 in our best 2 out of 3 fall contest. I'm now ready. I have the question in my hand for the second fall. Joe Lance, are you ready?
I am ready.
Charlie Kruel, are you ready for the second question?
Oh, yeah, bring it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, our second fall question here tonight on the Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge. This third generation professional wrestler is known for being a part of the infamous dungeon in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. This individual, over the course of their career, has held 2 championships in the WWE. The SmackDown Women's and Divas Championship. Name
Natalia?
Oh, no.
Natalia is correct.
Oh, no.
They say at this point in time, the Maniac Charlie Kruel is up 2 falls to none. Now, Charlie, I know for a fact at this point in time, under the rules of professional wrestling, you have won tonight's game show challenge. But I have to ask you, there is a third fall, and I want to ask you if you want to go ahead. Nightmare Jones has been talking, Joe Lance has been talking about the idea of how successful he was last week. And yes, Joe, trust me, I heard from intern Cindy, you were celebrating after last week's victory. I have to ask you, Charlie, are you willing to take the third question, the third fall, and possibly sweep Joe Lance right here on the Game Show Challenge here tonight?
Yes, bring it.
All right, Joe, I got to tell you, you were pretty confident going in. I'm going to tell you right now, if you can't get this third question correct, the Maniac will sweep you here tonight. And it will go back to the first episode of 2020 when you were swept by Renee Martinez. So I hope that you're
don't remember that.
Get this third question correct. At this time, the final fall here on tonight's Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge, this professional wrestler was born in the province of Quebec. He was trained by just such wrestlers as Carl Ouellet and Jacques Rougeau. Over the course of his career, he has competed in countless professional wrestling promotions,
Chris Jericho,
including International Wrestling Syndicate, Combat Zone Wrestling, PWG.
Kevin Owens.
He has also, ladies and gentlemen, the answer has been given. And tonight,
I
got to tell you, you have been swept by the Maniac Charlie Kruel. So at this point, intern Timmy, just so we can make sure that Joe understands what just happened, let's go ahead and throw out there the victory song for our winner of tonight's Wrestle Talk Podcast Game Show Challenge, Maniac Charlie Kruel. Intern Timmy, make the music.
Yeah.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there, and they stay there, and they stay there.
All right, you heard it here. Maniac Charlie Kruel sweeping Nightmare Jones, Joe Lance. Well, Charlie, I want to say thank you for coming on to the Wrestle Talk Podcast here tonight with what normally would be Joe and Renee, but tonight is Joe and Luke. I want to go ahead and say thank you for coming on the program tonight. And for those that want to follow Maniac Charlie Kruel on the World Wide Web. They want to follow you on social media. They want to catch up and see you inside the squared circle. How can professional wrestling fans and members of the Wrestle Talk family catch up and learn more about Maniac Charlie Kruel?
On social media, I'm under everything is at Charlie Kruel on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I also have a Tumblr account that I'm trying to keep up with more. It's just Charlie Kruel's blog. It's Charlie Kruel's blog, wrestling blog. And on YouTube, I have a YouTube channel that you can see all of my matches and promos and other stuff that I may post. It's Charlie Kruel Wrestling on YouTube. So that's everything is just under Charlie Kruel with a K.
All right. Well, like I said, Joe Lance, do you have anything else that you want to add here before we let Charlie Kruel get ready for her upcoming matches and for preparation for upcoming events?
Oh, just thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come onto the podcast. You are now a part of the Wrestle Talk podcast family. You got to promise us that you won't be a stranger and you will come back on again sometime so we can talk more about your professional wrestling career.
Always. I'll always come back. That'd be great.
Awesome. There you go.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Maniac Charlie Kruel right here on the Wrestle Talk podcast with Joe and Renee. Joe, I got to tell you, tonight has been a great night here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. Again, I'm going to throw it to you here.
Yes.
I mean, tonight, definitely a great show. What are you going to take from tonight's show?
Oh, my goodness. The one thing I'm going to take is B.Brian Blair is a amazing person. I cannot wait to see him at the Cauliflower Alley Club reunion just to talk professional wrestling with him because he seems to be the type of guy that can talk to you for hours about professional wrestling. Absolutely amazing. I hope to one day get a chance to see a Charlie Kruel wrestle once because she seems to be a amazing up and coming wrestler. Hopefully she'll make her way towards my area in the Eastern Panhandle. That would be absolutely amazing. It's just been an awesome night.
Well, Joe, I got to tell you right now, I got to say thank you to everybody that's been a part of tonight's program. You have B.Brian Blair, president of the Cauliflower Alley Club. And if you want to find out more about the Cauliflower Alley Club, make it a point, caulifloweralleyclub.org. You get all that great information about joining Cauliflower Alley Club, a great organization. As it was said before by Brian Blair, the idea that it is a nonprofit organization that not only talks about the history and the lineage of professional wrestling, but it also provides for those that have given of their minds and bodies inside of the professional wrestling ring. And again, Gold Coast Hotel on April 27th through 29th at the Gold Coast Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. I know for a fact that Joe Lance is going to be there, Renee Martinez is going to be there, Luke Roberts is going to be there, Drake Lee of Dynamo Pro Wrestling is going to be there. Countless professional wrestling personalities from across this planet are all going to converge on the Gold Coast Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada as a part of the Cauliflower Alley Club reunion, the 55th annual Cauliflower Alley Club reunion. And again, when you have some of the recognees, the award recognees that are going to be at the event, I mean, you look at it, Greg Oliver receiving the Melby Award for wrestling historians, Art Williams receiving the Charlie Smith Referees Award, wrestlers like Ricky Santana, Dominic DiNucci, the Road Warriors, Jazz, Rey Mysterio, Rob Van Dam, the Golden Greek Jim Londas receiving a posthumous award, Madison Miles and Brian Tillman Jr. receiving Rising Star Awards, and Medusa Wonder Blaze receiving the Iron Mike Award. I'm going to tell you right now, if you have an opportunity to make it a point to head out to Las Vegas that last week in April and be a part of the Cauliflower Alley Club, it's going to be a great time. Again, as Brian mentioned earlier, you have the Destroyer Cricket Tournament, you have Wrestle Bowl, you have the Strut Off, you also have the Casino Royale that's brought by our great friends over at Vendetta Pro Wrestling, and you also have, in addition to all of that, you have the Bockwinkel Blowout and countless other events that are going to take place as a part of the Cauliflower Alley Club reunion. We also want to thank Charlie Kruel, Maniac Charlie Kruel, coming onto the program, talking about her career and all of her experiences inside the squared circle. Oh, yeah, Joe, and I forgot. You got swept.
Well, thanks. Thanks for reminding me. I won't remember it next week. I won't remember it. So, you know.
Well, I got to tell you right now, though, Joe, you did put up a pretty tough challenge here tonight. I mean, again, I thought you had that first one on the tip of your tongue. You couldn't get the word Martell out, and the judges said it as a part of the pre-contest instructions before we came on the program live was the idea you have to be able to give the complete name. And again, hopefully next week we'll have an opportunity for you to right this wrong and hopefully get back in your winning wave. Again, we also want to thank all of our great sponsors who help bring the Wrestle Talk podcast with Joe and Renee to you each and every week. We also want to thank you, the listeners, both through WrestleTalkPodcast.com as well as our feeds on Facebook and on Twitter and on YouTube. Again, without you, the Wrestle Talk Podcast doesn't exist. And again, we're getting closer and closer with each and every week to that landmark episode 300, which is going to be on the horizon very, very soon. And I got to tell you right now, Joe, tonight, as always, a great night here on the Wrestle Talk podcast. I got to tell you right now, after all these great interviews and all this great discussion, I got to tell you right now, February 22nd, Dynamo Pro Wrestling, as part of Mardi Gras Mayhem, Concordia Turner's Gymnasium, a great night of professional wrestling action to come. I mean, to give you an idea right now, that's only 11 days away. If you want to purchase your tickets, DynamoProWrestling.com. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter as well. Joe, I got to tell you, it's a great night. We got a lot of great things still to come. Impact Wrestling, I believe, is going on as we speak. You have AEW and NXT tomorrow. We've got TakeOver coming in just a few short days. We're going to be talking about Elimination Chamber, talking about Super Showdown, and we're also on the road to WrestleMania. I got to tell you, a lot of great things coming up. Also, one last thing that intern Jimmy just flashed across my screen. As a reminder, our good friends over at Ring of Honor Wrestling want to remind you to make it a point. There's going to be some upcoming events for them. I believe it is on Friday night, February 28th in Nashville, Tennessee, and on Saturday night, February 29th, Leap Day, for those of you that are familiar with the calendar, February 29th, Ring of Honor Wrestling will be returning to the St. Louis area at the Family Arena. And I'm going to tell you right now, Joe, you need to make sure you check out Wrestle Talk Podcast on Facebook and on Twitter, and keep an eye on the website, because I'm going to tell you, we've already had a lot of great guests this year. We've had the Midwest Independent Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame. We've had the Cauliflower Alley Club. And I'm going to tell you, you never know who's going to pop up on the Wrestle Talk Podcast with Joe and Renee. Joe, I got to tell you, it's awesome. Hopefully next week we'll be able to have the Night Owl back here in studio. I know he's celebrating the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl and bringing the Vince Lombardi Trophy back to Kansas City. And I got to tell you, Joe, it's been a great night. I hope that everybody enjoyed the show, and I look forward to seeing all of you at Dynamo Pro Wrestling on February 22nd. And for Joe Lance and Renee Martinez, I hope that each and every one of you tunes right back here next Tuesday night as a part of the Wrestle Talk Podcast with Joe and Renee. Thank you to the family that's listened to the program tonight, and we'll see you right back here next Tuesday night.
Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. Intern Jimmy, hit that music real quick. Thanks for calling in, Luke Roberts. Until next week. Hit that music. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Wrestle Talk Podcast with Joe and Renee. We want to thank our sponsors, Everything Combat, The Conspiracy Farm, Retro Zone, Kincaid, Esports Bar in Kansas City, Bad Bones Engraving. Thank you all for sponsoring the Wrestle Talk Podcast. You guys are absolutely amazing. Thank you all for listening to the Facebook Live, being with Nightmare Jones live and in person. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Wrestle Talk Podcast with Joe and Renee. Until next week, peace.